Hello and welcome to the special broadcast. I'm Geeta Mohan, reporting from the religious city of Qom in Iran. Let's begin with the conversations between Iran and the United States of America. The talks in Geneva concluded with significant progress forward. The next round of talks are going to take place in Vienna. Here's a report by Mahashweta Lala on what really transpired and where things headed.
The third round of indirect talks between US and Iran concluded in Geneva, with the Iranian side expressing a significant progress as the next high-stakes, technical-level meeting will take place in Vienna in the coming week. The talks were mediated by Oman. The earlier two rounds of talks held in Muscat and Geneva were also mediated by Omanian Foreign Minister Syed Badr al-Busaidi. After the talks, Badr al-Busaidi posted on X that both sides will resume talks soon after consultation in their respective capitals. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araqchi expressed optimism about talks on sanctions and said it will be discussed in detail in the next session. The negotiations, like the previous one, were led by US Special Envoy Steve Whitkoff and President Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. But the third round included Rafael Grossi, the head of the global nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency. President Trump has prioritized diplomacy over the use of military force against Iran. In his State of Union address, though he reiterated his claims that Iran's nuclear program was completely obliterated, he did not mention the use of military, but echoed his earlier promise that he would not let Iran possess nuclear weapons.
They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue. They're starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
The crisis in West Asia has escalated as Trump ordered the largest US military buildup in the region since the US-led invasion of Iraq in 2003. The USS Gerald R. Ford, the biggest US aircraft carrier, left port near the Greek island of Crete, bound for shores near Haifa in northern Israel. The US has also sent around a dozen F-22 fighter jets to Israel, the first time Washington has deployed combat aircraft to the country for potential wartime operations. After the talks concluded, US Central Command posted on social media pictures of US fighter jets conducting flight operations aboard US aircraft carrier. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
We spoke to the Foreign Minister of Iran, Minister Syed Abbas Araqchi, and here are the key takeaways that really give a sense of what is happening between Iran and the United States of America and where Iran stands when it comes to its position, not compromising on sovereignty, yet wanting diplomacy and peace. Donald Trump has put Iran on notice yet again. What's your reaction? Is Iran prepared?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. On your question, of course we are prepared. We are fully prepared for both options. war, God forbid, and peace. As you know, I'm going to Geneva this afternoon in order to have the third round of our talks with the US team. And we have made some progress last time. We were able to find some sort of understandings. And I think based on those understandings, we can build something in the form of an agreement, a deal. I think a fair, balanced, and equitable deal is achievable, and we can do it. Of course, our armed forces are prepared to do their job, and we know how to defend ourselves, and this is what we did last time. And we have learned lots of lessons from the last war, so we are even more prepared. And that means, by the way, that the aim is to prevent a war. When you are prepared for a war, you can prevent it. Otherwise, you are inviting it to your home. So we are fully prepared, not because we want war, because we want to prevent the war. I'm a man of diplomacy. I have to talk about my own job. And I think the way we are going to is the best possible way to resolve this problem. There is no military option for Iran's peaceful nuclear program. If there is any concern, if there is any question, if there is any ambiguity, we are ready to address. We are ready to answer questions. We are ready to remove concerns, but we are not ready to give up our right for peaceful use of nuclear technology. This is what we demand. So I believe that tomorrow in Geneva, there is every possibility to come to an agreed solution which is fair and balanced.
You believe there's going to be an agreement, or are you just hopeful there's going to be an agreement?
Well, I'm hopeful, of course, but I think it is achievable. Of course, it depends on the other side's determination. To be honest with you, we are not fully convinced that they have a real determination to do that. Why? Because we have a bitter experience of the last time. We were negotiating last June when Israel attacked us, and then the US joined that attack. So that memory is still fresh for us. The wounds of that aggression is still alive in our minds. So we cannot forget that once we negotiating with the US, and then they decided to attack us. This time we are obviously more careful, and we have concern. But if there is a genuine, if there is a real serious determination in their side to come to a conclusion, I believe it is achievable.
Iran is at a critical juncture. The news is tightening when it comes to the West. Conversations are underway. The Iranian foreign minister made it very clear that peace is the only way forward. But should there be war, Iran is prepared for it as well. So what happens next? A few things. There is no long-range missile that Iran is planning, is what Tehran says. And why? Because they don't need long-range missiles. The range that they have of 2,000 kilometers is enough for the bases around Iran in West Asia, or what you know as the Middle East, to retaliate and respond to any threat that Iran faces. Secondly, there is massive support that Iran gets from two very important allies and partners, Russia and China. The economics is shifting. This is not a country that is stifled, although it is, but not stifled absolutely, because it still has support from Russia and China. But when asked if they will seek help from Russia and China, Iranian foreign minister very clearly said that's not going to happen because they can defend themselves. The message from all these allies and partners very clear, that they do not want war, that everybody wants peace. Because should there be a war, and there are many within Iran who are seeking change, reform, and maybe regime change, but should there actually be war, the economic situation is going to be so bad that everybody is going to be feeling the pinch and the crisis, and therefore they will turn. They will turn against the Western attacks that you've seen in the past in the whole of West Asia and the Middle East as well. So that's another aspect. There are many aspects that show that at this point in time, nobody really wants war. War does not serve anybody's purpose. But how can they come to peace? Through the talks. The first 3 rounds of talks have concluded, Geneva being the last, and now the next round of talks are going to be in Vienna. How's that really going to go forward is something we'll have to wait and see. The geopolitics of Iran aside, there is a real economic crisis. I spoke to a few people from Iran, and this is what they had to say on how they're dealing with the situation, how things are not absolutely fine. There is a call for reforms, and this is what they have to say. Tell me, I see a lot of life, a lot of people outside, but truly, what is it that you're looking at when you see Tehran, when you see your country?
Okay, so what could be seen right now is not exactly just the real image of what people really feel, or it is it doesn't just prove that they are so excited about their life, and they are so satisfied about what they are experiencing. It is quite against just about people's feeling and about people's emotion. It might be because everyone just knows them responsible right now to survive and keep going, but just majority of people are really against this system, this regime, and just they wish they could bring a lot of changes. There are many evidences these days, and the best evidences would be just what is happening in the universities these days. The universities like Sharif,
the protests that are continuing right now.
Yeah. They are exactly the best proof, I can say, how people are against or opposed to the idea of this regime. And they know how cruel, how brutal they are, not to give them enough freedom, just to force a lot of people to be living in such a terrible economic crisis.
Right, Sarah, a lot of women have suffered a lot, here. But the protests, women trying to reclaim their space, do you think that's the reason why we're seeing the moral policing in Iran going down? That a lot of people are not coming and saying, wear a hijab. Is that something that is changing a little?
Just, about the veil or about the hijab, it is quite different, because it was connected to the politics of the government, I think. In this case, it was the only freedom which was given. But the reason why people protested against government 4 years ago was not only because of just veil, or Mahsa Amini's actually disagreement against government. It was not the only demand that people requested. It was something a lot much more. And actually, freedom is not just limited to the appearance. It's limited to what people can say or just can present.
Sia, in terms of expectations from the government, what do you want from the regime over here?
We just don't need anything more. We just don't hope. We just we're really tired. We just want something new. We just don't know how to live like this. This lady is right. The tax, the prices, everything here is hard. And more of that, we don't need war. We don't want to have a war. Of course, everywhere in this world have any, like you, I think, have a with your neighbor. But this in our country it's different, you know, because we people live here, we really don't think like our government and regime.
You don't?
No, most of us, I think maybe 60 or maybe 70% of us don't think like them.
Okay, but do you also think that the West does not think the way they should think of Iran and the people over here?
You mean
The US and West, yes.
Of course, every government people, the first thing is their people, not another people like Asian people, or we are in not property of what they think. They just do what they have to do for their people, and we are in the second, third thing or choice for them.
There's a significant Indian population in Qom who come for religious studies. There's an Indian advisory that has been issued for Indians to leave Iran. But listen into what Indians in Qom are saying about the situation, how they see Iran, how they see the conflict, and whether they're going to leave Iran anytime soon. Why are you still here when there's an advisory for everybody to leave?
Because you are also here that you are seeing there is nothing such that there will be war or something, and we feel very safe here and peaceful here.
But should the situation become serious, how are you going to then look at leaving? Because then you'll have to depend on the Indian government to evacuate.
I was here last time when there was a 12 days war, and I was seeing there was very normal, so hopefully I won't leave. I will be here, and we don't think so there will be war, because Iran is also prepared, and Iran has his own trust in God. So I don't think so US or any other allies will dare to attack Iran.
Regarding the negotiations between US and Iran, Iran has been on the front foot. Iran has made sure that none of the demands of Americans are accepted. First of all, it was in Turkey. Iran said no, it should be in Oman. Then it happened in Oman. Iran said, we are not going to speak to you directly. We do not feel you're worthy enough that we can speak to you directly, because you betrayed us in the past. So they said, we'll speak to you indirectly. America accepted that as well. America put 4 conditions initially. They said nuclear enrichment, ballistic missiles, proxies, and regime change. Iran said, the last 3, forget it, we are not going to talk about it, only nuclear enrichment. Once again, America accepted it. So if you look at it, if you look at the negotiations perspective, Iran is on the front foot, not on the back foot.
तो देखिए अब तक 1 महीने से ज़्यादा हो गया है, 28 दिसंबर से ये सब चल रहा है, अभी फरवरी का एंड है, अभी तक कोई हुआ नहीं है ऐसा यहाँ पे। और एडवाइजरी तो जारी की गई है, लेकिन एडवाइजरी भी नहीं पता कहाँ से उनको ये पता लगा कि मतलब इतने ज़्यादा हालात ख़राब हैं।
एक महीना
पहले भी एडवाइजरी आई थी, लेकिन ऐसा कुछ है नहीं यहाँ पे, और बहुत नॉर्मल है सब, जैसा कि रोज़ाना जैसे लोग रहते हैं वैसे। और अभी इंडियंस जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं वहाँ पे, उनके अंदर भी कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है, आराम से वो क्लासेस कर रहे हैं अपने। और जैसे मैं भी हूँ, मैं अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी जाता हूँ, मेरी PhD है, मैं अपना थीसिस लिख रहा हूँ यानी इस्लामिक फ़िलासफ़ी और वेदांत पे, तो मैं रोज़ाना आ रहा हूँ जा रहा हूँ, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। ऐसा अभी तक तो मुझे किसी से भी ये खबर नहीं हुई कि किसी के पेरेंट्स ने इंडिया से फ़ोन किया हो कि भाई तुम चले आओ। यहाँ अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह किसी को अंदर डर नहीं है, इसलिए कि इतने दिनों से पहले से सारी बातें हो रही हैं। लग रहा है कि एक आम सी नॉर्मल सी ज़िंदगी जैसे पूरी दुनिया में हम लोग इंडिया में गुजारते हैं, तो वैसे यहाँ पे भी सुकून से गुजार रहे हैं। कोई टेंशन की बात नहीं है, ना ही जो है वो कोई फैमिली डरी हुई है, नहीं कोई जो है वो कहीं से कोई ऐसी बात लग रही है कि जिससे कोई डर जाहिर हो। सुकून की ज़िंदगी है, रमज़ान का महीना है, सब अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह दुआएं पढ़ रहे हैं, नमाज़ पढ़ रहे हैं, अपनी क्लासेस जा रहे हैं, सुकून से सारे काम जो है वो जिस तरीके से नॉर्मल उसी तरीके से। वो एक मीडिया में जो है जब आते हैं हम लोग मीडिया पे, तो पता चलता है कि कुछ ऐसा होने वाला है, लेकिन ज़ाहिरी तौर से कोई ऐसी चीज़ नज़र नहीं आ रही है।